Hampton College. What's up, Hampton College? Boy Kamal Hyman here. Thank you for your list of questions. It's a shame I couldn't get to see you guys physically, but this is definitely the next best thing. So I've got a list of your questions. I'm gonna do my absolute best to answer them and be as honest as possible. Let's get down to it. So let me check out these questions. Question 1, how can I motivate myself to revise? What's the point of exams? Fair enough. Okay, so when it comes to revision, revision is like the reps you've got to do at the gym. It's not necessarily fun, but it's necessary in order to get the best results. So, you're about to walk into a test where they're literally going to ask you a series of questions about information you basically already know. The issue is, the way our brain works is in order to get something from our short-term memory to our long-term memory, we need to revisit that thing. Think about it. When you look at adverts, how many times do you see the same adverts over and over again? How many times have you heard simples? How many times have you heard go compare? Like, they repeat adverts to us so that they go from that short-term memory to our long-term memory. So as soon as we hear that song, we know that company. As soon as you see the big M in the distance, we know it's McDonald's. Our brains need to hear things repeatedly in order to learn them and have them in that long-term memory. So all revision is just recapping information you already know. So if you can start thinking of revision as that rather than this thing that you get forced to do, that's going to help you with your motivation to do it. So the next question is, do you want average results? You spent a year, 2 years of your life in sixth form before these exams come up, right? If you're doing AS 1 year, if you're doing A2s, 2 years. You spent 11 years before that in education. Now, why would you want to spend 13 years of your life in the education system and then leave with average results? It just doesn't make sense. Now, if you think about it, and whatever you want to go and do next, whether it's university, whether it's an apprenticeship, whether it's just the world of work, there's got to be an application process, right? In that application process, before they get to meet you, because that's where you really sell yourself, they're going to look on paper, application form, online form, and find out, you know, what makes you desirable to hire. Now, if you are one of the people with a lower percentage, then you get put slightly to the back of the queue. If you've got average, you're in the middle of the queue. If you've got the great results, you're in the front of the queue. My simple question is, what part of the queue do you want to be in? If you want to be in the front of that queue, go and get good results. And it's that simple. And I think if you can get your head around that, I'm not saying that grades are everything and it will be automatic success, but what I am saying is those grades open doors for you. If you want doors open for you, if you want to be one of the first to walk through the door rather than the second, third or fourth option, get revising. And you have to revise for what, a month, 2 months, and then it's over. That's it. So, in answer to your question, to motivate yourself to revise, think of the end goal, what you want in the future. Think of where you want to be in that line. Do you want to be the below average, average, or the excellent? And realize that revision is just like reps. You want the six pack, you want the body, you've got to go to the gym and do the reps. It's not that enjoyable, but it's going to help. And hopefully that will help you out. Question 2, what is the point of exams? Okay, so I don't necessarily agree with the exam system we've got because it tries to condense 13 years or 2 years or 1 year of, you know, education into an hour, 2 hours. It doesn't make sense. However, it's what we've got. We're playing the game of living in this country. With living in this country comes doing education. With doing education comes tests. We've just got to deal with it. There's no point in complaining about it until you're in a position to offer something different. You had the choice. You could have done a BTEC where it's all practical. You chose to do an A-level where you got exams. That's the game you signed up for. The point of exams is to understand in a really quick microsecond how well did this person do during the 2 years they were in sixth form. That's it. You got a C, okay, they did alright. You got a B, okay, they were on it. You got an A, sweet, they were completely focused. You got a D, they probably could have worked harder. And that's what it is. It's just in a split second, how did this person do during their 2 years of education? And really, like I say, you signed up for this. Once you finish year 11, you have a choice of which route to take. You chose the A-level route. Part of that is exam. The point in it is to be able to see how you did over those 2 years in a split second. Question 3, what do you think is the best way to revise? Okay, this question is a little bit unfair because everyone's got their own bias, everyone's got their own style. So what I will tell you to is go figure out your style of learning. For me personally, you'll see, like, even in this, I was just on a phone call, I took a few notes, but even in this notebook I use like different colours. I like colours. And I don't like notebooks. I don't like notebooks with lines. I like just paper. I feel more free, and I use colours, and I like mind maps, that kind of thing. That works for me. My fiance currently at university, what she does is she writes notes in lots of different colours, but writes, you know, line paper, reads it, closes it, asks me to ask questions, or she'll read it out loud, and that works for her. You need to figure out your learning style. Are you somebody who learns from writing and reading? Are you someone who learns from hearing it? Are you someone who learns from, you know, actively doing activities? You need to experiment, figure out your learning style. I'm sure your school has done so much with you on learning styles. Are you auditory? Are you kinesthetic? Like, they must have done that kind of thing. So just figure out which learning style you are. What I will say, try and make it interesting. If you find revision boring, it's because you're boring. Make it interesting. Use some colours. Do you remember how you learned your ABCs? They used music. It was like, they taught you twinkle, twinkle, little star. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Took that out, and then did the A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So took your favourite song, got rid of the words, put music in. When you watch adverts, it's pretty much all got music in the background. Like, just get creative. Use music, use colours, use sounds, use post-it notes, stick them around. Just experiment with lots of different versions and see which one works best for you. We've all got smartphones now, right? Or something that can record our voice. Record yourself reading the notes, play it back to yourself later when you're walking your dog, when you're sitting on the toilet, when you're at a party with your friend. Chuck your headphones in and re-revising. But you know, get creative, get creative. Question 4. You went from C's and B's to A's in your GCSEs. How do you think you did this? Really simple. First thing I did, I raised my standards. My dad had a serious conversation with me that said C's are crap, B's are better, A's are acceptable. That was it. New standards set. So the only thing that was acceptable was an A, so that's what had to happen. I had to go and get the A. Just as simple as that. You're only ever going to achieve the standard you hold for yourself. So right now, if you're struggling to reach a certain grade, raise your standard. That becomes the only acceptable thing. The other things, three really simple things. 1, I started turning up to my lessons on time. Stop dashing around in the hall, stop messing around, just turn up on time. Number 2, I stopped sitting with my friends and my boys at the back of the classroom trying to be funny. I just sat at the front next to a smart person so that I could get help when I needed it, and that really helped. And number 3, like we've been speaking about, revision. Just did a bit of revision. You learn it in school, you can't expect yourself to like retain all that information, so you just revisit it later when you go at home. And the beautiful thing about revision is you revise for an hour. You go back to that subject, you only need to do half an hour. You go back again, you only need 10 minutes. And eventually you get to a point where you only need a few minutes to launch that thought. Do you have any tips for staying calm either just before or during the exam? Nice, good question. My tips for staying calm before or during an exam, the main thing is to breathe. Breathe. And it sounds really stupid. It's like, well, obviously I'm breathing. You're probably not. Like, when you panic, you're probably not breathing. You're like, just worrying. Breathe. And there was an interesting, I think it was a TED talk about, you know, how it works, how the breath works, how to calm yourself through breath. And it's all about rhythm. It wasn't about how deep, how shallow, it was just about rhythm. So, count it. 3 in, 3 out. And just do that, count in. 3 in, 3 out. 3 in, 3 out. And just do that maybe 10 times, 15 times. Whenever you're feeling panic, just breathe. Just breathe. It'll lower your heart rate back to normal, and you just feel a lot better. It sounds so simple, it's a complicated problem, but it is. Just breathe. You can do that during, you can do that before, just breathe. Another thing for before the exams, sometimes we think about it so much, we like hype ourselves up and get worried about it. So what I would say is before your exams, make sure that day you've eaten food. Make sure you've done something physical, whether that's just walking to school that day, whether that's dropping down doing 20 push-ups in that morning. Just do something physical to get the blood flowing, and make sure you've had some food, drink some water so you're hydrated. And if you find conversations with people about the exam gets you into a more nervous place, don't talk about it. Just be like, best luck for your exam, I'm gonna go crack on my mind and try and talk about other things. But again, you've got to experiment with you. Me personally, comedy or podcast in the morning gets me in like a good place. So I feel like I'm ready to take on the world. The other thing you're doing during your exams is just stretch. You can do like stretches, you're allowed to stretch your feet out. You know, stretch your hands out, your fingers, and then get back to writing. But breathe. I am worried that I've left revision too late and I don't know enough. What can I do? Quite simple. You need to go to your subject teacher. You need to look at the work you've been doing and ask where he or she thinks your weakest spots are and where he or she thinks your strengths are, and then you spend all the time now revising, focusing on where you're weak, so that when you come to the exam you're more prepared. That's the best thing you can do. The other option is to do a mock paper and then have your teacher go over that, and they'll tell you where you did bad, where you did well, and then you just focus on where you did bad, bring that up so that when you go to the exam you're fully prepped. So yeah, if you're there for revision late, that's all you can do. Schedule it in properly and make sure you spend time working on the bits of the subject that you're actually weak on. Oh, the other thing with that is get over it. Like, there's no point in beating yourself up about the fact you didn't revise at this point. It's done, you haven't. So now, say, okay, I haven't, what can I do now? And crack on with that. I have a part-time job, like going out with my friends, and it's difficult to find the time to put into some sort of revision. I want to work hard, but I find it tricky. What should I do? So you've told me I have a part-time job, which fair enough, good. I like going out with friends. It's difficult to find time for solid revision. You find it tricky. No, you don't. You don't find it tricky. You find it not important, and you're gonna do whatever you think is important. So if you right now, honestly, know you've got exams coming up and you're like, but I'd rather go out with my friends, then what you're saying is, I think going out with my friends is more important than my exams. And if that's what you genuinely believe, then there's nothing I can say to you right now to stop you going out with your friends instead of revising. Priorities. Now, if you genuinely think, actually no, when I think about my exams are more important, then you'll say to your friends, guys, this is the season I've got of exams coming up. I'm gonna do 2-3 hours of revision every day. Once I've done the revision, I'll hit you up and then we can go and socialize and do whatever you guys do. But if you genuinely think that's the most important thing, you'll do that first. And then your friends come. It's literally that simple. You've got a part-time job, not a full-time job, so you can just get a schedule out. When am I working? When am I free? Where can I put a solid 3 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour revision in? And then what time I have left over is for my social life. But the priority goes, you know, your work, fair enough, and your exams, which is revision. But if you're saying like, I find it tricky because I like going out with my friends, then all you're saying to me, all I'm hearing is, going out with my friends is more important than my exams. And if that's the case, you're not going to do well in your exams. Motivational, I know, but we've got to be real. So readjust your priorities and make a plan accordingly. I just don't seem to get one of my subjects. What do you think I should do? So if you're someone studying, you know, 3 or 4 subjects and there's one that you just literally not getting, you're literally not clicking with it, just something is not right for you there, I'd go with my tutor. I'd sit down and say, look, sir, madam, I don't get it. And again, I'd audit where I'm strong in it, where I'm weak in it, and all you can do at this stage, it's too late to drop the subject, you're at exam point, just go and give it your best. Sit with the teacher, audit it, find out where you're weakest, study up on that, spend, you know, an hour dedicated to that every day, and go for it, basically. But if you're really not getting this subject and you're not liking it anymore, then chances are you're not going to pursue a career in it later on. So you might as well just give it all you can now, and if the result comes back confirming that you're not good at that subject, you're probably just not going to continue a career down that route anyway. So I'd never say give up because you've come this far, but do that last ditch effort, that last thing of, right, teacher, boom, here's what I don't get, do the revision, go into that exam, give it 100%, and then that's it. Just know that you did your best. As long as you can look yourself in the eye at the end of these exams and say, I know I did my best, you're good. And if it doesn't go well, it's just not for you. Fine, fair enough, but be able to look yourself in the eye, be able to, when you have kids and they ask you about, did you try in your exams, be able to look them in the eye and say, I did my best. That's all you can do. Boom. Ah, that is all the questions. Beautiful. Guys, thank you so much for your questions. This has been really fun. It's been really different to be able to answer your questions. Even though you're not physically there, I hope this has helped. And like in closing, and to sum up what we've spoken about today really is, number one, you've given this 2 years of your life, you're doing A2s, 1 if you're doing AS. You might as well now put in maximum effort, do the exams, and then chill, then relax, and then, you know, go about your life. But you chose these subjects, you chose to be here, now you need to choose, am I gonna put the work in so I can walk out knowing I did my best, or am I not gonna put the work in, be average, and get average results and complain about that? I'd recommend, now that you're at this stage anyway, you might as well put 100% in for this next couple of months and then you're free. thank you for your time. I'd love to wish you all good luck with your exams, but I wish you none at all, because luck is for like average people who hope something goes well. What I will say to you is put in maximum effort from now to that last day of exams and make it happen. If you need anything whatsoever, hit me up on Instagram or Twitter. It's at Kamal-Hyman. And if you just need general motivation or just to laugh, then the Snapchat's at Kamal-Hyman as well. Thanks very much. Make it happen. Peace.